decisions and A, be upset, be disappointed, be mad at the individual player, and B, be upset if it happens or when it happens again. Chances are that this thing's going to happen again. Chances are that we're going to see something similar like this happen again, where somebody in the NBA, for whatever reason, is going to have to leave. Somebody in the NHL is going to say, I'm sorry, but I've got family at home. I can't do it. That's going to happen. That's going to be a problem. I think one other issue that we can look at that for some reason this would be raised is, well, what if it's your team, Shander? Easy for you to point out right now. What happens if Carter Hart has to leave? If Carter Hart has to leave, and it's no knock on Brian Elliott, but if Carter Hart has to leave, then that team is screwed. All right? There's the honest truth to you. If Joel Embiid left today before the bubble and said, I've got family issues, even if I just don't feel safe, if somebody came out, I think that's the thing that we should probably focus on most. People are trying to make the means justify the end, where the end will always justify whatever the means are. Look, the end will justify the means if there's a knucklehead. I just thought I could come out of the bubble real quick and then come back. Or I left and broke quarantine when I should have been at home when I left the bubble, and now I have to quarantine for an extra longer amount of time. Whatever the case may be, or you broke the rules, you snuck somebody into the bubble, and now all of a sudden there is a spread or something like that, and you got booted from the bubble. Again, the end has justified the means. You did something stupid. You made a boneheaded decision. You put a lot of people at risk. Now the end result is you got your butt kicked out of the bubble. If you leave the bubble, I don't care. If Joel Embiid, who already expressed concern about his safety before he even went down there, and then you saw, funny how that works, right? A bunch of other players around the NBA say, yeah, Joel's not wrong. To be honest with you, he's really not wrong. A lot of people feel concerned right now. If Joel Embiid left the Sixers an hour before tip, put out a video on his Instagram that said, guys, It's not for me. I don't feel right. I don't feel safe. I want to get back home. I've got family to attend to. I've got people that I need to attend to. People are relying on me. I can't leave right now. Them at home. I don't feel safe. I need to go home. You're disappointed because you know that it's a gut punch to your team. And I'm sure Jazz fans, especially the ignorant fans who attacked Conley, or the ignorant Bruins fans, there are a lot of them up there, who attacked Rask, couldn't see past their own selfishness. I understand they being the fans, selfishness, but it shouldn't matter. Well, come on, he's got a newborn son. He wants to see the birth of his... Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's an easy one. Somebody picks up because they've got something wrong at home or so a special moment like the birth of a child. Those are easy ones. It's really easy to ban the loudmouth ignoramus who's spreading misinformation on Twitter because they're really popular, and banning them is an easy decision. But it's the subtle accounts. It's the ones that are propagated by bots. It's the ones that aren't as loud and in your face as the obvious ones that become a little more difficult in that conversation. Nuance is suddenly added to this conversation. You need to look at everything across the board equally and say, if somebody doesn't feel safe, or if somebody chooses to leave the bubble because of the birth of their child, or because they've got kids at home and their family needs them, end will always justify the mean. Now, today is an interesting day, and I'll explain coming up next at Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. Not just on the NBA, where there was one game that I am convinced the dog is going to win today. We'll get to that this hour. It's the second level on Sports Map Radio.
For real. Coast to coast! Is Saturday pro football not better than sex? If the NFL played Saturdays and Sundays, I wouldn't even talk
got a text from
her, even though she's smoking hot and I love her. I mean, if there's football on Saturday and Sunday, pro football.
Yeah.
On Food City and betting on football all day. Give me Saturday football. Screw college football.
Farrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
So he might have to move.
The Jake Asman Show.
Not every day you get a chance to have football royalty. We bring on a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time NFL MVP, the great Joe Montana. Tom has openly said you were his hero growing up. And obviously with Tom changing teams, there's been a lot of comparisons to when you changed teams at the end of your career. So what was your reaction when Tom left New England? And obviously, what do you expect from a guy like Tom Brady now finishing his career with a different team?
Honestly, I was shocked that they let him get out of New England. I thought they would have done everything that they could to try to keep him there. But I think probably in the end,
So what's he moving his time to?
That's the Super Bowl.
I'm just waiting to figure this
I don't
out.
think he was happy with the way things were progressing there and his ability to have input. And I think that was a big decision for him to make to leave there.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
Introducing AutomotiveMap.com, a website for anyone interested in the automotive world. Whether you want to check out the latest auto news, read reviews on the newest vehicles, see some vintage rides, or get tips to keeping your family safe on the road, AutomotiveMap.com has something for you. If you love cars, trucks, SUVs, and the amazing technology hitting the showroom, then head over to AutomotiveMap.com. That's AutomotiveMap.com.
Into the night.
Here with Jim Brando, Fox Sports college football guy. Let's get to this Big Ten debacle because the Big Ten hasn't actually made it official. But the commissioner, does he just like floating this out there to see which way the wind? Yeah, and then he puts his finger up and he licks it and puts it in the air to see which way the wind's blowing before he cancels the Big Ten season?
Sadly, it sort of looks that way. There's a lot more to it than that. And I've been pounding the pavement for almost 2 decades, saying we need one voice for college football. We need unified and universal leadership. How in the world did we get to this point where we find out from the commissioners of the Power Five that each stinking one of them has their own Anthony Fauci? 5 epidemiologists aren't going to agree on anything. And the fact is no epidemiologist from the Southeastern Conference or ACC is having consultation at all with the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the Big 12 is absurd.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
You're listening to The Second Level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
Well, it is a special day today. I found out that it is Ron Culver's birthday. But more than that, August 17th, this is wild. So August 17th is not only my brother's birthday, it's also my mother's birthday. Now, it's my mother and my half-brother, my brother on my dad's side with my stepmom. So they're not biologically related, but
I am.
You are, yes. So you are August 17th, as are my brother and mom.
We complete the trifecta.
Unbelievable, man. I've never met a third person who was born on this day. I've met plenty of people born on many a days, but never another person on the planet. Don't you think this would have come up at some point just in discussion?
No.
Yeah, my birthday's August 17th. What? Really?
I mean, think about it. How often do you just blurt out when your birthday is? Never.
That's not true. It comes
do you
up.
walk around? I don't even know when your birthday is. Now I'll ask, when's your birthday?
12/12, December 12th.
12/12.
Yes.
1912.
I wish.
12/12/12. That would have been cool.
Yeah, but do you think it would have been cool back then? Like, do you think people?
No, you would have been burned alive.
Probably. People would have looked at me like, so what? You were born on all 12s. Right. No, 2 12s at least. That's all I can really handle at this point. I just have never met a third person, and I thought that was pretty crazy. I mean, think about it. They say things happen in threes, and
there you go.
You were the third this whole time. I just never met you until recently, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
All of the shows we've done, all of the times in which we've broke bread on the airwaves here. Don't you? I am a little more. You act like this is hidden information that rarely does. Here's the thing. I don't need the year, but just the date of birth. Like, oh, yeah, we were celebrating my birthday when we went on this trip, this camping trip. Like, what? Okay, well, when's your birthday? Yeah, some middle of August. Really? My mom and brother are middle of August.
No way.
Something like that. And we go on tangents. We even have built tangents into the show. We go on tangents so much. I am amazed that this has not come up. Now, what did you get for your birthday?
I got a power washer.
Now, you need to connect that to the actual hose, right?
Yes, you get a hose, and you also got to plug it into an electrical outlet.
Yeah, what is the deal with these things?
But it is phenomenal.
You can't get a hose with like a super nozzle?
No,
This doesn't?
no. I mean, if you put it on the highest setting, you can take your skin off if you put it close enough.
Really?
I thought my driveway was clean.
Until you power washed it?
Until power washed, and only did half of it.
What do you put in the power washer?
Nothing. Just water.
Wait, so here's my question. You can't add any kind of different soap?
No, I can add if I wanted to wash my car with this thing, I got to put it down a setting. I'm not ready to take the paint off my car yet. But you can add soap directly to it, and it'll soap it up for you.
So you just put soap on the actual surface of whatever you're
No,
washing.
there's a little canister at the bottom.
Okay, because I bought one of these things, and it's it's a lot, man. It's a hassle.
But if you put it on if you put it on that highest setting,
you'll take a finger off.
I don't know if you
take skin off.
You can take skin off, but there's a setting. My wife finally found it. I mean, first of all, it's very zen. Because I think I have the answer to it. It's instant gratification. Because you're sitting there, like when we were power washing the driveway, you instantly see cleanliness. And you see a drastic difference. You'll look at it and go, man, I didn't even know my driveway could get that dirty. I thought I had a clean driveway. I've walked out there barefoot all the time. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's no way. I mean, we still have the other half of the driveway to do. I said, there's no way I'm going to walk out there barefoot ever again. It is unreal.
Now, what would be something you would actually power wash on the highest setting? Like, what could you...
The driveway. It's not going anywhere.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how tarred up is your driveway?
Apparently, it was pretty bad. I didn't realize it at the time, but looking at it... Because here's the thing, right? I knew from last weekend it was my oldest son's birthday.
Okay.
And we had a birthday parade. I think you remember me telling you where people were throwing water balloons at him. Then, somebody came in with silly string. Some had like a confetti popper. Then two of his friends dumped flour on him. I mean, the kid's soaking wet. They dumped flour on him, instantly cakes up. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. He had a great time. But all that mess was left on the driveway. Okay. But I knew at the end of the week, I said, I got a power washer coming. I'm not even going to try to sweep this up because I will be out there all day. I'll be out there. I'll need a chisel.
Absolutely, all day. So this thing right there,
I'm not going to worry about it because I knew I had a power washer, and it cooked in the hot Houston sun.
Wow.
And it kind of just baked and solidified and, just made our driveway look like a mess. We got the power washer out there. I mean, that stuff was coming up without any issues. And then we're actually doing it and looking at it going, oh, my God, look at this. Keep going in this area. Keep going in that area. And it was just taking up all the dirt and grime.
That, man.
It was
How long
insane.
does it take? Probably not as long, right?
No, it's not that long, but it depends on your driveway. Like our driveway, it took a good day.
Wow.
Or no, good couple hours. No, good couple hours.
How many acres or miles is it from the mailbox to your house? Was it that bad? You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it a little later today. I'll get back with you on a report tomorrow. That'll work.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like Mark.
If you have one, bust it out. Do you have a driveway? Or
I do. No, I have a driveway. The problem is that
Granger is here to help.
I moved into the
offering
house,
supplies and solutions for every industry.
Free
access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides.
Outside. So I have no water in the hose outside. So I need somebody to come in. But ever since COVID,
Yeah.
We haven't really had anybody in the house.
Granger.
So I'm
For
going to
the
have
ones
somebody,
who get it
I
done.
guess, a plumber.
Mutual.
Yeah. I'm
Come in.
telling you, man. Yeah. Have a plumber. I'm telling you, once you hook that baby up, you're going to be like, holy shit. I can't believe it was, you might think you have a clean driveway, and then all of a sudden, my wife did the walkway right in front of our house. I had to take my son to baseball practice yesterday, and she did the walkway right in front of it, leads up to our front door. She left a little tiny corner untouched so we could see the difference.
Right.
I thought for sure that, when I first saw it, I said, there's a gray rock over there. I could not believe the difference.
It's amazing.
It was unreal.
.com.
Wow.
Best hotel rate.
So much zen. I mean, you just sit there with the gun and you're just like, brrr.
That's what I want to do, yeah.
Choice.
I took down a wasp nest, pissed all the wasps off, but as they started flying towards me, I shot them with the water can. I was like, this is fun.
Hey, best.
Simple
Yes.
pleasures.
That's pretty funny.
Over
though.
2.5 million airline passengers fly every day in the United States. Those passengers depend on reliable airplanes, and those planes need certified aircraft technicians. That's where
So
you
no
come in.
John now.
We are the Aviation Institute of Maintenance.
I think we're going to run. I think
Tomorrow's
John might come on at
technicians.
12:12.
We train our students
so that we can run Zach at 12:40. Were you able to pull that?
and prepare them for jobs
Okay,
in
so
the industry.
worst case, we
The
may
Bureau
just run
of
Zach
Labor
at
Statistics
12:12.
reports the average aircraft technician
And then
in the United
we run
States
John at
makes over
12:40, but
$62,000.
Unless you want to run it now.
Opportunity is there. The money is there.
Now we
If you
can
want to
keep,
work
we
with
can
your
keep
hands,
the first hour
or the
open.
place
That's
where
fine.
Call 800-876-0097.
Did he
I'm very
post
impressed
another
with the
video
AIM
of
curriculum.
somebody dying?
No, he posted, I guess, pictures of mailboxes being locked up in Burbank
Okay.
to prove like how this is your America type of thing. But those photos apparently are from 2016.
800-876-0097.
From muscle pain, body aches to strains, Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis. It works fast, and you
Hey, I'm going to get you on there, and then I got to run to the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
will penetrates deep to relieve arthritis
I'll
pain,
let you know when I'm back.
joints, and more. Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis. It works fast, and you won't stink. Find Blue Emu at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, and other chains, or visit blue-emu.com.
Hey, just let me know when you're back, because I might ask you something.
Yeah, I will be. Definitely will.
Oh, you know it's Holly Berry's birthday today, too?
Is it? Nice.
Dealing with the root.
I know it's Bob De Niro's birthday, but I don't know if I can call him Bob yet.
By Rocket Mortgage.
I haven't worked on a film with him.
Auto Parts.
And Sean Penn's birthday.
Eitan Shander.
We're going to have to look at this. We'll do this in about 10 minutes. Other people not named Ellen or Noah Shander or Ron Culver born today, August 17th. So happy birthday to Ron. Happy birthday to my brother Noah, my mom Ellen, and we'll name a couple of people. Wow. Found an infamous one on this list as well. It's not all famous people for the right reasons. Unfortunately, maybe even one of the top 5 most famous people born today is for the wrong reason. Well, yesterday actually was a pretty good day. Yesterday you had Madonna, Wilhelm Wundt, Billy Evans, Steve Carell, Prince Frederick, Duke of York, and Albany. Yesterday was a pretty heavy day. Today, on the other hand, well, we'll have to run down the list. I thought that I saw it was Halle Berry's birthday based off of an article from our pal Robert Littell that was more just a post of her coming out of the ocean in a black bikini. Oh, it's Dave Bromstad's birthday, and I know this guy from this show that my wife watches that was on like Friday night. So when I used to work the late Friday shift here on the network, she would come home from school and we'd have like a couple of hours to kind of just chill. And this show that's on is called My Lottery Dream House. And what he does is it's essentially, I think it's HGTV. It's one of these channels, right? HGTV. And what he does is take people around to find a house who have just won the lottery, but all different forms of lottery. I mean, they've had like $10 million Powerball winners. They've had people who have won, $500,000 off a scratch off. So it depends. Not everybody is multi-millionaire over. And it is kind of interesting. I will say that show is actually kind of interesting because it's not super rich people that are, have done this and are looking for their sixth home now and they've run out of patience and everything along those lines. It's people who have come into money that are looking to spend and they play off it. It's like, yeah, he's never seen this type of money before and what you would want to do with it. So we'll take a look at some other names. Just John Gruden's birthday today. I tell you what, man, John Gruden, unbelievable. Did not know. This is a pretty busy day. I never thought to look it up as it's just been so busy in my own family to where, you have to make the 2 calls, the 2 texts, and you have to send 2 cards and now e-cards here. Unbelievable. We'll have to match it up to see as far as where this one name I'm looking at ranks, as well as where they rank alongside Ron Culver. Now, the NBA, with the help of Yale, has done something rather special. The FDA granted emergency use authorization to a saliva-based COVID-19 test. It's called Saliva Direct. Again, developed by the Yale School of Public Health. The NBA did a ton of funding for this. Spitting in a tube now becomes much less invasive than swabbing the sinuses, which that thing goes deep. Tests are expected to cost less than $20, as the leading saliva test can surpass over $100. Labs can source tools from multiple vendors, decreasing risks of supply chain clogs. So it doesn't need to be just one spot. So over the spring, you might have missed this, Yale partnered with the NBA. This is how it came about, and this could be gigantic, especially as we look for the football season to begin. And you'll hear more about why I get why people in the Big Ten and Pac-12, mainly Big Ten, want to petition and want to play, but it's an exercise in futility to try and re-petition the league. But the NBA partnered up with Yale, and the players' union, alongside with the league itself, threw in over $500,000. The league's bubble in Orlando has been used and will continue to be used as a controlled environment. So for the last 2 months, players have been taking 3 COVID-19 tests: a nose swab, a mouth swab, and Saliva Direct. NBA players, if you haven't noticed, and if you're wondering why, for example, things are coming back so safe, there is almost nobody in the world being tested so often in so many ways as NBA players. Saliva Direct was just as effective as the other tests, but with the NBA bubble still COVID-free, we need to see just how Saliva Direct performs, rooting out asymptomatic carriers, because that's the big thing now, is asymptomatic carriers. It's gigantic. As we've seen, new cases have been declining, but so has testing. And you've seen it from people right down to not wanting to go get that invasive test up their nose, to labs saying that they're overrun and it's difficult now to just crank out results. While you are still getting, and not to slide too far away from sports, but while you're still getting, at least from some public health experts, a push for a national testing strategy, trying to do what they can to reduce delays and make it more accessible, this test right here, the Saliva Direct, if in fact it continues to work on a similar level as it has and will, we expect, continue to be effective in the NBA bubble, then this could be gigantic. This could be humongous in the case of turning around tests. It doesn't matter if we're talking about NFL or if we're talking about 9th grade kids in school. It's another means, and in this case, it's a faster, less invasive means that's just as accurate. And that's a game changer. And it's not just the NBA trying to do this. People, oh, well, NBA's dropping $500,000 in there just to keep their players safe. Now, this test, funded, yes, by the most part, by the NBA, this is way more about creating something that can be used in mass and, of course, cheap as well. That would be the biggest. The NBA is going to be fine. The NBA is going to run through the rest of the playoffs that start today, and you're going to find a ton of games, a great value on the board, but a ton of storylines, and rightfully so, about how the NBA kept its bubble safe, how the NBA was able to bring everybody down and keep people safe. Even when somebody left, they came back and it was safe. Well, now we know that they were using these 3 tests, one in which they funded for not just them, for everybody. Friday, Regal movie theaters will open. Man, I can't tell you the last time I physically went into a theater, but I imagine that there are going to be a lot of people hesitant to get back in there. I guarantee you people will go. People will go. At this point, you've been at home for a while, and while the big box stores have always been open, and maybe you have indoor and outdoor dining at the same time. But I don't know. That seems to be one of the few areas that you just have to have one of these cavernous theaters. It has to be gigantic. And even then, you have to make sure social distancing. And here's another thing. Maybe the best part about going to the movie now is that since there will be social distancing, you don't necessarily have to worry about sitting down and then that person who is 6'6" sitting in front of you and you really having a tough time to watch the movie, see the screen. So maybe in that regard, you can kind of bounce away and know for a fact that there won't be anybody in front of you. I will say, as the NBA does begin today, mention that there is one game for a fact I have no problem taking the points. And you could get it, depending on where you look, you can get the Jazz at +8. Unibet actually has it up. So I don't know if Unibet is legal where you are. If not, then I apologize. But Unibet was offering a positive return for Utah +8. And at that point, how could you say no? You're given a gift. It's like a birthday present at this point, and it's not even August 17th, and you're Ron Culver. It's like, wait, what? I'm getting a birthday present? 3 other games, I know 10 points is a lot. 10 points is a lot to lay in the bubble. But the difference is that we've seen pre-playoff defense in the bubble. Toronto is going to lock up Karis LeVert, no knock on him, and everybody else that you can't recognize on the Nets. They just don't have anybody right now, nor do they have the bodies that they had last time they truly went up against the Raptors. Toronto, meanwhile, 7-1 in the bubble. That was the quietest 7-win bubble restart in an 8-game series I think we've seen from a team. That's what the Raptors do. They just go out, they win basketball games. It's insane to see what they've been able to do, and they're going to continue to do that today and most likely pound the Nets, but I wouldn't touch that. 10 points it's too much. It's just too much. If I had to, I'd take the Raptors and I'd lay the 10, but you can find other value. I actually think as low as that total is, that 221.5, I would probably, if there was a play to make, go under on that total. You can skip ahead. That Sixers-Celtics game is going to end exactly as you think. Joel Embiid is going to have a huge game because nobody on Boston can do anything at all to slow him down. But the problem, of course, is that the Celtics can beat you 4 different ways. You know, it's like a food that's served 3 ways. Boy, what would be the best, like a potato served 3 ways? That's how the Celtics will beat you 3 different ways, 4, 5 different ways, and leave the Sixers head spinning. They'll score a lot of points. I think both teams will score a lot of points. That total is off at 218.5. But go ahead, take the Celtics, money line it, lay the points, go over 218.5. That would be everything there that you need Sixers, valiant effort, game one, but it's not going to be enough. And then from there, the series is pretty much over. Mavericks, the Clippers haven't had a full squad. Somebody's been out, somebody's been hurt, somebody's missed time, somebody just came back. They haven't had a full squad in their entirety for the bubble. And there is something about Dallas coming out, fired up, geared up. I actually took them at plus 155 it was to win the first quarter. I think that's really Dallas's bag today, would be their ability to come out and kind of stun the Clippers. The Clippers, who are still trying to get their feet wet and still trying to get them under them and see if, in fact, even if it's just working people back into lineups, that I think is going to take a little bit. Clippers have no problem winning this basketball game, but I could see Dallas coming out and winning the first quarter. All right, we found a couple of names. Throw them at you here. Come back, wrap the hour at Shander Show. It's a big day on the program. It's Ron's birthday. It's my mom and my brother's birthday as well. Turns out there's some other famous people, not named Ron Culver, who were born on this day.
Had to happen.
I found one that might be the infamy surrounding his name might be as popular as any positive name on this list.
All right.
So we'll throw that one out and round out the hour here on Sports Map Radio.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralta.
Les Carpenter covers the Washington NFL franchise for the Washington Post. There were such rampant rumors flying around. I'm sure you guys heard about that. How difficult was that? There was just such craziness around what you guys were going to put out.
There were some people in the media, mostly in this market, that kind of said that early on, and I think that allowed everyone to sort of let their imaginations run wild. That's what upsets me the most. Yeah, I can't say this enough. 50 women had the courage to come forward and talk about their experiences, and I feel like in some ways that has just belittled just some of the things I've seen on the internet, and that's just disappointing. This is not a nothing story. This is serious, and I realize there's a lot of people who would like the owner gone, would like things to change with the franchise in that regard. But please listen to what these women are saying. It is so important. And I use the word heartbreaking, but that's the word that just kept coming back to my mind. I just can't believe they went through this.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralta. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Into the night.
So we found out that white pros in the bubble are doing the beer shotgunning. J.J. Redick and some guy named
Myers Leonard.
I thought that was an electronics store in Indiana. Go to Myers Leonard today and get yourself a brand new 75-inch plasma.
50% off on VCRs.
Harry, it's Myers Leonard. His prices are insane.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Into the Night.
Here with my man Kevin Harlan. So what's your favorite organic thing that you've ever done, whether it's an NBA or an NFL game or any other sport?
Well, they've all been organic. I like to say that whenever they've happened, they're so focused that it does happen organically. Now, listen, wrestling with my kids or playing Nerf football in their rooms, you come up with these crazy sayings like the no regard for human life. That call, that actually I stole from a James Bond movie, Dr. No. So when I heard that line, I would use it when I was playing against our son, Nerf football or Nerf basketball, in his room when he was like a little guy. When he was like 2 and 3 years old, he goes, I have no regard for human life. And I would slam the Nerf ball over his head. So when LeBron did that, for whatever reason in that moment, it just kind of popped into my head, and I used the call.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Wake up call! Please, God, if it does come to that, can we have the Walking Dead zombies, not the World War Z?
Yeah, I don't need the fast-moving...
Superhuman.
Ooh,
I'm not outrunning a World War Z zombie.
I'm the guy you bring because secretly you know I can't keep up with the rest of the group. Hey, I'm going to take Bob and Jim and Tony. You come with us, too. And everybody knows why you're bringing me. So when push comes to shove, I'm the meal.
Wake Up Call with Tony B and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level. on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
So looking at the trifecta of birthdays here got us looking around other people's birthday. Do you know that it's John Gruden's birthday today?
Yes, I do.
Now, Robert De Niro is an easy one. We can take him off the top of the list. I still haven't seen Halle Berry, so maybe it was a different day.
I think she was over the weekend.
Okay, maybe that's what it was over the weekend. Now, one of the most famous people that I recognized on this list of names who were born today is born out of infamy. And that would be, who is the most famous cult leader in American history?
Yeah.
It's got to be Koresh, right?
I don't know any others.
Well, it's either that or the guy who got people to drink Kool-Aid.
But he did that down in was that in like Africa or South Africa?
Oh, you know, I
South
think
America.
I think it was off this
Jonestown.
Right, Jonestown. You're right. There's also a famous alum from
maybe Brigham Young. Is that no? Maybe is that too far? Sorry for you guys. I'm sorry out there.
Now, would you rather be known as the day in which David Koresh was born or the day in which Donnie Wahlberg was born?
Donnie's a good one. But if I had my choice, we would take the Wayback Machine. Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett. Now, I did not see Davy Crockett.
Yeah, Davy Crockett on this day in 17-something.
Donnie Wahlberg. That's all I can see is Donnie Wahlberg. That's all I hear. Marcus Garvey, Mae West. You've got some pretty.
There's some good names on there. Like I said earlier, Sean Penn.
I see Davy Crockett now. Yes, Sean Penn is a great one. And we should recognize Sean Penn. You know, here's one that you probably don't know. And I brought him up real quick. David Bromstad. He hosts My Lottery Dream House or something on HGTV. And I know that because it's one of my wife's favorite shows.
There you go.
Mark Felt, FBI agent. Yoo Sung-ho, South Korean actor.
How about this one? The most hated college basketball player ever is?
Somebody from Duke.
Christian Laettner.
Today?
Today.
Oh, wow. What a day this is. All right.
One of the big changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask, but not all offer the same
plan
comfort
on
and
John at
protection.
12,
I recommend
12.
the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable breathable mask enhanced.
So, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes? No problem.
Getting to your nose and mouth. They also offer nano silver neck gaiters, available in sizes for adults and children, and are in stock now and shipped to you fast. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use the promo code Tony and save 20%. That's code Tony at boomernaturals.com.
This is the Sports Map Radio Network.
Let's face facts. It really is amazing.
Your home for Tony Bruno.
He has a take, but he sort of sucks at the same time. You know, you had a take or two, but for the most part, I got to run.
And Scott Farrell.
Bobby, can you get my divorce lawyer on the phone, please? Because I'm going to watch 6 hockey games a day, and I'm not even going to bathe.
The nation's fastest growing 24/7 radio network is the Sports Map Radio Network. Beautiful.
Wake up call.
Big Ten has one game this year.
Ohio State, Michigan?
At the Rose Bowl.
Oh, that's not bad.
On January 1st.
That's not bad. Can you imagine if Harbaugh loses that game and Michigan has
God.
You had 4 months to prepare for one team.
He'd be fired on the field.
This is what we get. You can't beat Ohio State when you have had nothing else on your calendar.
He wouldn't even get the Lane Kiffin treatment.
No, he wouldn't either.
There's no tarmac in his future. It would just be right there in the tunnel.
Getting fired on the tarmac indicates that you thought you were going to get on the plane. They wouldn't even allow him the thought of getting on the plane. Don't pack your bags. You might as well stay here for a few days.
Yeah, you're used to California, right?
Yeah,
stay in California.
You're like, didn't you coach down at San Diego State at one point? Go visit them for a few days because you ain't coming back to Ann Arbor with us.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
The Jake Asman Show.
In no world is Lamar Jackson a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I love Lamar. Did he deserve to win the MVP last year? Obviously. But if you ask any NFL executive who would they rather have right now, Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, the executive that tells you Lamar Jackson is being paid a large sum of money by someone that really loves Lamar Jackson.
The Jake Asman Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
The second level.
You don't say one of the best when you talk about the Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott. You say the best. Do you think if this were happening back in 84, 85, would you opt out or would you play?
There are certain things that come with your responsibility. And there are certain things that you have to be able to understand. And when you think about those responsibilities, you're hoping that everybody abides by those responsibilities. The 49ers, and the reason I can only speak about that is that given the characteristics of the group and given the characteristics of the people and understanding the consequences, that's what allowed that team at that time to be able to function and do things that maybe other teams couldn't do.
The second level with Eitan Shander, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Pharrell.
Coast to coast! Is Saturday pro football not better than sex? If the NFL played Saturdays and Sundays, I wouldn't even talk to my wife ever, even though she's smoking hot and I love her. I mean, if there's football on Saturday and Sunday, pro football to bet on, I mean, it's junk food city and betting on football all day. Give me Saturday football. Screw college football.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Into the night.
Back here into the night, Mark Schlereth continues to talk with us.
Hey, Mark, what's your take on the Dak Prescott situation? Obviously, going to play this year under the franchise tag.
The thing that drove me crazy about the whole Dak Prescott situation was, the Dallas Cowboys, they kept releasing the contract terms. One thing I know about players and agents, they don't release a contract term unless they're going to sign it. They don't say, hey, look, we got this money, but we're not going to sign it because it's not enough money. And the thing that drives me crazy about organizations is they all claim salary cap victim. The salary cap can totally be manipulated. You can pay anybody that you want to pay. That's the way the salary cap works. You can always find money. You can manipulate the cap. You can redo other people's contracts. Just look at Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, with Chris Jones. If your intent is to get it done, you'll find a way to get it done.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays, weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Introducing AutomotiveMap.com, a website for anyone interested in the automotive world. Whether you want to check out the latest auto news, read reviews on the newest vehicles, see some vintage rides, or get tips to keeping your family safe on the road, AutomotiveMap.com has something for you. If you love cars, trucks, SUVs, and the amazing technology hitting the showroom, then head over to AutomotiveMap.com. That's AutomotiveMap.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
This is a Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media.
Set your system's volume control for slightly above the normal listening level.
Let's go. Second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level on the Sports Map Radio Network, a show where we go beyond the box score.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage, home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
There is a storyline coming out of Cleveland, as you can imagine. The two pitchers who decided to just go out in Chicago and have some fun caused a pretty big rift in the team, as expected. There's also the return of the National Football League today. And there was just something amazing about it. We'll chat with John McMullen this hour. Zach Barnett, who covers the world of college football, as Justin Fields creates a petition. And there are a lot of people out there that might believe this and complaining and parents banging their fists on the table or showing up at an AD's front yard, anything like that's going to work. It won't. But at least they have to go out there and have to try something. It does feel different. I'll just say not even – maybe it's the difference of the feel that's actually normal, meaning what we're used to is seeing every single beat reporter to columnist that you follow on Twitter putting up a video or a tweet about somebody, a backup quarterback just dropped back and threw a 50-yard pass in the air to the fourth string wide receiver who just beat the second string cornerback. And, normally I would just move on. I wouldn't even reference or bring up anything like that. Maybe I'd like the tweet if I would do anything. But after everything that we've been through and continue to go through in this country, especially from a sports standpoint of having everything stopped and then slowly seeing bubbles pop up and trying to get back to some sense of sport, you can do it. You can overreact to anything you see. Go ahead, go nuts. Your backup quarterback just threw a dart to a guy who probably won't even catch a football this year. Go crazy. 13-3 all you want. I don't care at this point. Football is back, at least for now. Let's enjoy it as long as we can. We'll chat with John McMullen, our NFL insider, about that, and maybe even Dez Bryant returning to the NFL.
Goes on. And Staples has everything you need.
What about Alex Smith taking Dwayne Haskins' job?
Masks. And all at amazing prices. This week, select one-subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each. Select notebooks and...
I don't even know how that's going to happen.
I don't either.
Boy, if you're Dwayne Haskins and that's
and you
the
lose,
case.
well, if you're Dwayne Haskins and you lose your job,
Right.
Do you have to retire?
I think
right
so.
There?
I think so. I think
Available
that's
in
it.
most
Done.
stores.
Over 2.5 million airline passengers
there's
fly
just no way.
every day in the United States.
You retire. You just give up. You're like, I'm done. Throw in the towel.
That's where you come in. We are the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, and we train tomorrow's technicians. We train our students hands-on with real aircraft, develop their skills, and prepare them for real jobs in the industry. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports the average aircraft technician in the United States makes over $62,000 a year.
How much longer is she on?
You have her Thursday, and then you are done.
Oh.
760097.
I'm very impressed with the AIM curriculum. The school's keeping pace with the demands of the industry.
The potential for growth is astounding.
At the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, we train tomorrow's technicians.
800-876-0097. 800-876-0097.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal. We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who will get the IRS off your back.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Call Tax Solutions now. Time is running out. Call 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744.
Jake Asman here. One of the big changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask, but not all offer the same comfort and protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable, breathable mask and hands with nano silver technology. Nano silver can block those tiny drops and particles from getting to your nose and mouth. They also offer those popular nano silver neck
for whatever reason you
available
can't
in
get
sizes
John,
for adults and children. In stock now and
just
shipped
run
to you
Zach
fast.
now.
Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use promo code Jake and save 20%. That's code Jake at boomernaturals.com.
He's not picking up yet.
All right, let's just run Zach.
At the Sports Map Radio Network, we wear Boomer Naturals masks. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use promo code SportsMapRadio for 20.
All right, well, then take a siesta, my friend.
I will be right back. I'm going to be gone like 5 minutes. I have my phone, too.
You're listening to The Second Level on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
We mentioned this story that continues to be in development mode. Justin Fields created a petition to reinstate football in the Big Ten. How realistic is it? And just speaks to the uncertainty all around with the sport right now. So we go out to the Progressive Guest Line, bring on an expert, Zach Barnett. You can follow Zach on Twitter at Zach_Barnett. Covers all things college football at Football Scoop, CFP Talk, which is college football talk, of course, the NBC site. Zach, Eitan Shander on Sports Map Radio. First and foremost, thank you for the time and hope all is well with you and yours.
Yes, thank you for having me.
How realistic is this? Is this an exercise in futility by Mr. Fields?
Unfortunately, I think it is. If the Big Ten presidents cared about what the coaches and the players and the families thought, they would have reached out to them ahead of time. So I don't think there's any way, at least right now, that the Big Ten goes back and changes its mind. But then at the same time, I didn't think there was any way that the Big Ten would shut down the season 6 days after they released the schedule. So, what do I really know at this point?
Well, hold on, though. I think you actually might be onto something. What do you think was okay? I would think, and I'll defer to you, Zach, but I would imagine that there was enough data, there was enough scientific evidence that presented itself to the Big Ten where they realized as much of a risk as this is, it's not worth it. So maybe that would be the fundamental reason why things would change so rapidly after releasing the schedule. But it would also speak to why it would be absurd that if that were the reason why they canceled, that anybody would be able to change their mind simply with a petition or, 50 angry parents.
Yeah, the overwhelming, the most common word that Kevin Warren has thrown out in the very few times that he's spoken since then is just uncertainty. And there's just too many too many unknowns right now for them to be comfortable playing football. So I don't think that even if the athletes were to come forward and sign a waiver or anything like that, I don't think that would change. At the same time, though, all of this started happening. The wheels started really spinning last Saturday morning after the MAC shut it down for their season. Then the Big Ten was like, okay, let's start moving. And then they haven't really. I think I totally understand the frustration of these players and these parents because they've upended the livelihood of thousands and thousands of people, and they haven't really come forth and they told everyone why. The Pac-12, has followed the Big Ten around like a lapdog through these past 6 weeks in making their decisions right after the Big Ten does. But at least they put out a 12-page report explaining, why they came to the decision that they did and what things would have to change for them to feel comfortable playing football again. And, agree or disagree with their conclusions, at least they showed their work. The Big Ten has not been transparent at all. They made the announcement without really sort of any sort of plan B as to what these coaches and athletes are supposed to do for the fall. They haven't said, all right, here's what we need to see to play this spring. And so, good on these parents and these players for not taking, IDK as an answer.
Very fair. And I think that there's so much gray area that it does definitely justify a lot of people's frustration, from parents to kids, especially anybody who has the NFL in their future. So what happens now? Let's look immediately with conferences that we assume are going to stay shut down. We know that a team is not going to – Nebraska, despite Scott Frost yelling as loud as he wants, nobody's going to be able to leave as a whole. But what about individuals? What's going to happen, in your opinion, Zach, to anybody who's looking to transfer out, even if it's Penn State, Ohio State, or a smaller school in that conference?
I really don't think you'll see that very many transfers, just because, how sure can you really be that if you transfer and then your season gets shut down? We've already seen one instance of that, of an LSU tight end that left his school. Obviously, LSU is still planning on playing, but he transferred to McNeese because he was going to be a 4-string tight end. Transferred to McNeese, hoping to get some playing time, and then McNeese shut their season down while LSU is still playing on. And at this, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, all those schools are practicing right now. So to think that you're going to there's a whole lot of snaps to be had right now. Certainly if you're Justin Fields, maybe that's different, but I just don't think that there's going to be a max exodus, just because there's not a whole lot of spots to be had, and logistically you run the risk of getting on your new campus and then everything shut down the next hours after you arrive.
Zach Barnett joining us at Zach_Barnett on Twitter. So let's look at the other schools, the other conferences, first and foremost, that we believe are going to be slated at least to start the season. Is there any concern that you have, Zach, about a conference right now that is set to kick off, outside of the obvious of nobody's going to be able to play football if that actually plays out? But is there another conference, for whatever reason, that you are truly unsure of as we sit and talk right now, that might not start, that might go to the side of the Pac-12 and Big Ten and cancel or postpone?
I think you got to be concerned about all of them, to be honest with you. We've seen reports. Yeah, I mean, all along, the commissioner, Greg Sankey, has been very clear that there's no guarantee that they're going to play. They pushed everything back as far as they can, and at least to remain somewhat tethered to the traditional football schedule. They're scheduled to open camps tomorrow. Monday is when camps really get going before their conference only schedule begins September 26th. But over the weekend, we've seen reports of outbreaks happening on campuses and dorms, in sorority and fraternity houses. And, that's not to say that it's a guarantee that those outbreaks are going to seep into the locker room, but we've seen it very clearly how easily that can happen. So if we get to a point where, Oklahoma, just for instance, sent their team home, they broke camp last week. They took a pause, and then 9 players came back positive. Now, it's a very, very fine line that we're walking here. And, if North Carolina, for instance, could have 3 to 25, 3 becomes 10, becomes 25, then that could lead to some changing minds there. Syracuse, I believe, has missed 3 practices because their players aren't too sure about the protocols they have. Liberty is a school that's supposed to play 4 ACC schools in their schedule. They've come under fire because they're not testing asymptomatic players. So I think, there's a report that the NBA and Yale have come out with a testing protocol mechanism that can really make rapid testing very easy. But until we see that happen, I think everybody is touch and go, day to day, moment to moment, until we see and know otherwise.
What percentage would you put on this, Zach, that we don't have any college football this year?
I mean, I think anybody that says anything other than 50-50 is putting the cart in front of the horse. I mean, I'm trying to remain as confident as these commissioners are, because while they don't have the power, they have the best information that anyone has. And, that's what Greg Sankey is saying. Boz Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, has continued. He's been the most confident, but at the same time, he's been open to the fact that this could shut down, that we could see games paused, games canceled, games moved around. So I just really think you've got to continue to take it day to day.
And how likely do you think that we'll see a scenario where we won't see football in the fall, but we will see some sort of spring action? And the reason why I bring that up is just because a team that is delaying right now until the spring is especially a good team, is probably going to lose the top 10 to 15% of kids who have any type of NFL future, probably down to like a 5th round, maybe even 6th round pick, right?
I'm a little bit. I'm not so sure about that, just because, it definitely would be a risk to go out and play this spring and then try and play in the fall in the NFL if you are fortunate enough to be in that position. But at the same time, it's a risk to not play. To solely rely on your junior tape or your sophomore tape to get drafted when presumably other guys are playing, or simply to try and play in the NFL after taking a year off. I mean, a guy like Justin Fields, a guy like Trevor Lawrence, a guy like Penn Sewell, the offensive lineman at Oregon, certainly those guys can rest on their laurels and they can feel comfortable submitting the tape they have as their resume. But the vast majority of players need another season. They need better tape, and they need reps. And if you're going to try and play in the NFL in 2021 without playing at all in 2020, I'm not sitting here saying that it can't be done or that nobody's going to try it. Certainly, there's going to be players sitting out, but I think it's a risk that also has to be weighed.
All right, let me throw this hypothetical at you. The Big Ten we know is postponed, canceled, postponed, most likely. Let's say the ACC steps in and due to circumstances that you laid out where kids are coming back, parties, whatnot, they have to cancel/postpone as well. What happens to Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence? Are they in the SEC? Oh, and the part of the hypothetical is the SEC is moving forward like the NFL, head down, we're playing football no matter what. Could you see a scenario where one or both of those kids are in the SEC this year?
No, I really don't think so. First of all, I think those guys, I mean, they like where they are. Trevor Lawrence likes being a Tiger. Justin Fields likes being a Buckeye. I don't think, I think they would sit out the season before they would go become a Kentucky Wildcat or a Tennessee Volunteer. I really do. And I think
it does sound weird. You're right.
Yeah. So Justin Fields has said, he's launched a petition today to try and play this fall. He's undecided on whether he's going to play in the spring or not, but he's quoted as saying, I think his dad was quoted at SI that saying that they're not in a hurry to go cash in those NFL dollars. So I'd even be willing to say it's more likely that those guys are still at Ohio State and Clemson in 2021 than it is that they're playing at Kentucky or Tennessee in 2020.
Wow. And it makes sense. And I think that when we look at everything right now, just trying to move forward, we go back to that key word of uncertainty. What do you think it would take to shut the SEC? It just feels like the SEC is in a different world, mainly because I'm not even talking about the quality of football on the field, but just as far as their own world, a lot of times, despite the Power Five being in their own world compared to other conferences. What do you think it would take for the SEC specifically to shut down?
I think you would need. I think you need double-digit positive cases on at least a handful of rosters happening simultaneously. And I think the administrators would need to see, okay, this we had a bubble throughout the summer and it worked well. But now that we've got kids back on campus, there's just no way we can keep these infections out of the locker rooms. And I don't think community spread is really, like, I know they're really worried about that in the Pac-12 and to a lesser extent the Big Ten. If that was going to be a factor, it would have happened by now. And then I think you would need to see the heart conditions like the Indiana offensive lineman had happened to him. I think you need to see that start to pop up. Obviously, hopefully it does not, but I think you would need to see something like that to where, these issues that these other conferences are worried about, is primarily outbreaks from campus making it into the locker room. I think you need to see that be somewhat widespread for the SEC to say, all right, let's just play in the spring.
Zach, really appreciate it today. Thank you, man. Hope all is well again with you and yours, and be safe out there. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You got it. At Zach_Barnett, Football Scoop, CF Talk, College Football Talk on NBC Sports. Eitan Shander, it's the weekend edition of...
That's all right.
Next on Sports Map Radio.
The second level.
Whose last name would you take as your own if you had to pick one? Asman, Desiri, or Shander?
It's not Asman.
Ron Asman?
To be fair, it would have been fine.
I think you'd have to go Tony, right? Ron Shander isn't terrible.
Ron Shander sounds like a real estate agent. Ron Desiri or Ronnie D.
Ronnie D is great. Tony D, Ronnie D. You guys are a couple of brothers out there.
The second level with Eitan Shander, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Pushing the odds with Matt Peralt.
Our next guest here on the Progressive Guest Line is a Pro Football Hall of Famer and a guy who, me growing up in the Boston area, watching Andre Reed catching passes was a thing of beauty.
Patriots fan, you know what? Foxborough Stadium was the worst stadium in all of sports. It was so bad.
I can't argue with that. I mean, that's why they tore it down and put up the new one.
A Foxborough Stadium, in the corners of the stadium when it was turf, it was rolled up like a carpet in the corners of the end zone. So if you ran a corner route into the end zone, good luck.
And the metal bleachers, I mean, that's where my first football game ever that I went to was a Patriot game in their 2-14 season, sitting in the cold bleachers, freezing my tail off. So yeah, that was not a fun place to go play. And I'm assuming going to the ground wasn't that fun either, landing on that turf.
Oh my gosh, it was like playing on concrete, no doubt about it.
Pushing the odds with Matt Peralt, weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Into the night.
You think LeBron, if he wins a title on October 12th, is going to be ready to go back to training camp less than a month later?
No.
And then start the season on December 1st? Hell no.
No.
Hey, LeBron, you just won another championship. What are you going to do? I ain't doing nothing. I got to be back in work in 3 weeks.
Right.
I can't even go to Disney World. I've been here since frickin' July.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays, weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Wake up call! You know, somebody told me I look like years ago.
Who's that?
Sean Miller, that was the head coach at Arizona.
Okay, I can see that.
I was just hoping when somebody told me Sean Miller, I was kind of like, please tell me Sean Miller is like a sex symbol at the University of Arizona. Like they want him to appear in calendars and everything like that.
But is it Sean Miller after a game?
Yeah, who's drenched in sweat?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take that.
You know what? There's only one way to do it. Go for a jog today.
Right.
You guys do a picture of Sean Miller post-basketball game and you.
If I ever interview Sean Miller, I should say, people tell me I look like you. Do people ever tell you you look like me?
I think you should. Wasn't he under FBI investigation?
Yeah, you're right. He was part of the FBI thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're under investigation by the FBI. You still get to keep your job.
No.
You still get to keep your job.
That is an inconvenience. Are you kidding me? That is a burp on the radar.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver, weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
So, can I ask you a question?
Fake news with Ron. With all the fake news out there,
don't believe those lies.
It's on Shander to give it to you straight. 3 stories, but only one is fake.
It's true. I know it's a weird thought, but it's true.
Can Shander spot the fraud? Here's Ron Culver.
All right, so the birthday edition, is that what we call this?
Sure.
Not really a birthday edition.
No theme?
No theme.
Okay.
Just whether or not you have got 3 stories and whether or not you can find the fake.
Right.
Simple game. Play along at home, kids.
Absolutely. I am confident that I could at least give it my best.
This is one of those games where you see a lot of people say, don't try this at home. We want you to try this at home.
Okay.
All right. Story number 1. A new check mark can be made on your 2020 bingo card as the next fighter has entered the game. Fire tornadoes.
You know, I actually saw this early. It must have been really early this morning because I had TV and I placed a bet last night and I fell asleep and I didn't see the game finish. So I was up really early and I saw, boy, who had it? Was it Bloomberg? Somebody had like a thread of what was going on. Oh, you know who retweeted it into my timeline? Chuck D. We follow each other.
Nice.
Yes, he retweeted the story into my timeline, and I thought, wait a second. Fire tornadoes?
Fire tornadoes.
Okay. Now, is there anything Should I hear you give it again? See, now I'm wondering if maybe you all. It sounded like you gave me this straight story on the skin.
I'm just letting you know. In California, I have experienced this, that there's when you have a wildfire, it does create its own unique weather pattern.
But I think the person reporting it said this is a first, right? Like this is a new one, isn't it?
Maybe new to this year.
Maybe it's
no. There is something new to it.
Okay,
we'll have to figure that one out.
Okay. Wow, that is insanity right there.
Fire tornadoes. Did you have that on your bingo card? You probably didn't.
I did not, but I can't believe it.
Not surprising though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Story number 2. Charlie Woods.
Who?
Charlie Woods. You're going to hate him. He pulled off his own version of his dad's run at the 2000 U.S. Open.
So this is Tiger Woods' son?
Yes.
And what could constitute that?
You hating him and him making his own version of a 2000 U.S. Open run? He was in a par 3 tournament. He's 11 years old, by the way. He was in a 9-hole par 3 tournament, right? He shot 3 under par and finished 5 strokes ahead of the second place competitor.
Who was the second place?
Oh, I have no idea.
And how old is this
some
kid?
random? 11.
11 years old.
11 years old. He shot 3 under par.
Yeah, but he didn't. From where? From the golds? From the seniors?
I have no idea. I'm just saying. I mean, 11 years old shooting par regardless.
No, I could shoot par from the senior tips.
Well, yes, but you're also not 11. Could you do it at 11?
Probably. If somebody put a golf club in my hand, think about it. You're 11 years old, so you're supposed to -5.
Well, you want to know? You want to know who his caddy was?
His dad?
Yes.
Okay. Look,
they told you hate him.
I feel like I could beat if Charlie Woods and I teed off on the same tees. I could beat him. No matter what the same tees are, then I could beat him.
Same age? I mean, I'm assuming you could beat him now.
I hope I could beat him now. There are some
I
kids,
don't think you could though.
Probably. I don't know. You really don't think I could beat him at 11?
I hope
him at 11, me at 42.
I hope you could.
Probably got a really sick short game or something. All right, what's the third story?
The third story, someone took matters into their own hands and fired a squirt gun at some anti-maskers in their local store. The difference being that the squirt gun was filled, you ready for this? Antibacterial gel.
Well, you could still hurt somebody if you get that in their eyes.
Oh, you could get them in, yeah. But they just sat there. What it reminded me of was Airheads. Remember, you had the fake machine gun filled with hot sauce?
Yep, absolutely.
That's what this person pretty much took matters into their own hands. Like, oh, you're not going to wear a mask? All
Was
right.
it a super soaker?
No, just one of those little handheld ones.
Oh, okay.
That break. They're like 99 cents.
Yeah, the black ones.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than the super soaker. You could put anything in the super soaker, and that sucker would just fly. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
The super soaker really hasn't been duplicated. They must have some 20-year patent on that thing.
No one's even came close.
Right?
All the and the only thing the super soaker has done over the years is made that tank larger.
Yes, I agree. They've gone and supersized the tank, which is nuts in its own right, isn't it?
It's perfect.
My goodness, man. These are tough. Now, McMullen's going to join us, so I should lock in, and then we'll throw him at John.
Yes. Tradition.
Well, I know story 1 is true. Story 2, I feel like I want story 3 to be real.
There's nothing wrong with wanting.
No. I'm going to say actually story 3 is fake. I'm going to go against my gut. Getting a little bigger nowadays, so need to go.
Married life does that to you.
Listen, man. Going to go walk some holes after this. McMullen will join us. I say story 3. We'll see what he says about that. And the return of the National Football League. We kind of have to talk about that.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. And the only one that's trending. Up to date, around the clock, what you need from who you know. With storm fronts, stand-ups, live news, and points of view.
And that's Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt.
And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free. Upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. Content availability may vary over time.
One of the big changes we're all dealing with is wearing a mask, but not all offer the same comfort and protection. I recommend the Boomer Naturals 3-layer comfortable, breathable mask enhanced with nano silver technology. Nano silver can block those tiny drops and particles from getting to your nose and mouth. They also offer those popular nano silver neck gaiters, available in sizes for adults and children, and are in stock now and shipped to you fast. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use promo code Scott and save 20%. That's code Scott at boomernaturals.com.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
At CDW, we get that migrating your business to a hyper-converged infrastructure is challenging.
Like me switching to decaf. Gotta do it, don't want to do it, but gotta do it.
Whoa, slow down, friend. CDW's experts can help you simplify the transition from legacy to hyper-converged infrastructure with Dell Technologies solutions that offer speed and agility.
Do it, do it. Have you done it? Is it done yet? Why isn't it done yet?
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Dell Tech.
I like a bed that's really firm.
I need something a little softer than that. Rest easy. With the Sleep Number 360 smart bed, you can both adjust your comfort with your Sleep Number setting.
Can it really help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet. Okay, but can it help keep us asleep? It senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you effortlessly comfortable. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. And now all beds are on sale. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus special financing on all smart beds. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Third floor study hall. First floor homeroom. My dining room table.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has everything from notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to face masks. Now at Staples, get 20% off your in-store purchase of hand sanitizer, masks, and other PPE products. Go to staples.com/20 off PPE for your coupon.
McMullen is rolling down the road. All right.
Staples. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. Ends 8/22. In-store only. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Curbside available in most stores.
You're listening to The Second Level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
Well, we're seeing news pop up, video pop up all around. You know the NFL is back when every single play in camp is talked about at length, not by the people reporting, but the people who are watching and following along, of course, on Twitter. At JF McMullen is how you follow John McMullen, our NFL insider, courtesy of Jacob Media. And, John, I know it's a busy day with the backup quarterbacks all over the NFL making news, throwing 50-yard bombs in the air to fourth-string receivers against the second-string corner. But as you know, when you join us, we have to hit you with – it's been a while. You've gone to the early time, but now we actually get you back to where we had you initially. So that means that we can return fake news for you as well.
Hey, I'm ready for it. I've missed fake news.
Yeah, I'm sure you missed fake news more than you missed talking to me, so I understand. Here we go.
You're always number one.
Here we go. I'm not going to tell you what I picked. We'll see if you're on the same wavelength as me today.
All right, let's roll.
All right, let's roll. John, a new check mark can be made on your 2020 bingo card as the next fighter has entered the game, and that fighter is Fire Tornadoes.
Fire Tornadoes. Is that a wildfire-related thing?
Yes, it is.
All right. Yeah,
See, I can buy that.
Yeah, we're not trying to
made it
cancel
up in my mind.
tornadoes.
No, we're not trying to. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, it's not you're fired tornadoes.
I think I'm writing a screenplay about that.
Yes.
Story number 2. Charlie Woods pulled off his own version of his dad's run at the 2000 U.S. Open.
Okay.
He was in a par 3 competition, or a 9-hole par 3 competition, where not only did he shoot 3 under par, but he bested the next person in line by 5 strokes.
All right.
And then finally,
what's number 3?
The story number 3. Someone took matters into their own hands and fired a squirt gun at some anti-maskers in their local store. The only thing is the squirt gun was loaded with antibacterial gel.
I can certainly buy that because people are losing their minds as we speak. So, to me, it comes down to 1 and 2. And I'm going to say 2 is so believable that Ron made it up.
So you say 2, I say 3. I do happen to know story 1 is real. Ron, what's fake?
What's fake? Story number 3.
Oh man.
Charlie Woods was in a tournament this weekend, a par 3 tournament, a 9-hole
par 3. This guy's out here pitching putting his way to a 4 under par.
He's 11 years old. He's not pitching putting. He's actually maybe he is driving the ball.
He didn't drive
I
the
don't
ball
know.
once.
We don't know. No, if he's Tiger Woods' son, he's not driving the ball. Tiger Woods did serve as his caddy. You know what? There's probably someone out there who has had a squirt gun full of antibacterial gel just to squirt at anti-maskers. I just don't know of that story yet.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure you put it in somebody's mind.
Craziness.
There's a little rustiness, so I'll get back in the groove.
Hey, John, this actually just happened and could have easily been slid in Ron Culver's fake news, but it looks as if the Canadian Football League has canceled their season this year. Any immediate thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised. I mean, when you talk about these lesser leagues that don't have the financial wherewithal to put in all the protocols you need to get through this thing, or at least to get through it where people will accept you trying, I think it's difficult. So, I mean, the CFL is what it is. It's a minor league, and they don't generate a ton of revenue, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that this is any precursor for anything happening here with either of the football leagues, even college, that generates a ton of money from TV.
Yeah, I think that's the landmark. I think, obviously, you talk about the SEC, and there are some, I mean, the Big Ten is obviously, they have enough money to do what they want to do, but it decided, at least so far, to push off the season. So it's not like you have to do it, but you can't do it if you don't have the money to do it, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. What did camp look like today? How different was it compared to the typical start of camp in the NFL?
Well, number one, there's no fans, obviously, and that's always been a dream of mine, and now a dream has become a nightmare because, you know, you're out there, and it's actually a nicer day where I am than it has been from a weather standpoint, but you got a mask on and 85-degree heat. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's where we are, and to get through this thing, it's what you have to do. And some of the protocols seem a little, they're there for sort of reasons that you want to highlight things. I'll just explain it that
Sure.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. In other words, you're testing people's temperatures and then telling them to walk in 95-degree heat and then they get another temperature, and they go from 98.1 to 100, and you're saying, oh, that's too high. So, it doesn't make sense.
No, I understand that from a protocol, I guess from an application standpoint. Are you seeing any difference? And I know you were at Eagles practice. So are you seeing any difference in just how practice is handled and just the execution of practice?
No, this was the first day in pads, and it looked like an NFL practice. When they're out on the field, obviously they're playing football. So there's no social distancing. There's a couple guys with masks on the sidelines who are not practicing, coaches, things like that. But in between the lines, it looked like a normal football practice. If anything, it was probably a little bit more amped up because, as I said, this is the first day of pads, and the coaches kind of know from a preparation standpoint, they're behind the eight ball, so they want to expedite things as far as preparation goes.
Did you see anybody wearing a mask underneath their face mask and helmet while practicing?
I did not. A couple guys would put it on off to the side, as they're getting taught or doing some one-on-one drills off of the side, but nobody, when team drills were going, nobody had a mask on, no.
How about Doug Peterson? It looked like all is well. He was one of the first two coaches to contract COVID, missed some time, and it looks like everything's okay with Peterson.
Yeah, he's 100%, and he kind of said he was never symptomatic at all. So from his standpoint, I think it went as good as it possibly could in the fact that he just sat out in quarantine. And then he was completely healthy. And it happened so early, by the way, Eitan. Again, he didn't miss any real practice.
Right.
He was back when they put helmets on, and now he's back for the first padded practice. So all he missed was that acclimation period, the ramp-up period. Whereas Lane Johnson, he tested positive. He said he had some symptoms, had some body aches, had some, at least a little bit of a fever. But from Doug's standpoint, claims he was asymptomatic.
Doug does. Or you're saying Lane did. I apologize for the confusion.
No, Doug was asymptomatic. I'm saying Lane, he had some symptoms. He felt some body aches, had a little bit of fever. He said only for about 2 days, but so it's kind of hit and miss. Nate Gary, haven't been able to talk to him yet, so don't know if he had any symptoms or anything of that nature. But right now, this particular team has nobody on the COVID-19 list. So protocols are working so far.
How did all the press work and everything after practice work? Were you able to have any type of interaction with players, even from a distance?
No, that's a nightmare. Basically, everything is still virtual. Everything is still Zoom. There's probably a Zoom press conference going on right now as we speak.
We're pulling you away from this? I'm sorry, John.
Well, no, it's not a problem. You kind of have to wait around. So in essence, we go in, we watch practice, and then we go back to our cars to do Zoom sessions with players. So it's not the best thing in the world, and I think everybody's kind of feeling it out on day one, and I imagine it'll get a little bit smoother, but there's no way to make it a good thing. Let's put it that way.
But it seems like, we're chatting with John McMullen at JF McMullen on Twitter, it seems like, at least for a couple of hours today, outside of the obvious, well, you were wearing a mask and a couple of guys, players on the sidelines wearing a mask, and you can't stand as close to Jimmy Kempski as maybe you wanted to. It seems as if there's a really strong sense of normalcy that has returned to the NFL, that this is not something that people are constantly talking about or weighing on. Is that accurate based on how you've described today?
Well, I think on the practice field, yes. I think there is a sense of normalcy. But no, not all of it, because I just explained the whole situation. The players are used to talking to us, and I don't think they're comfortable with Zoom either, to be honest. So I don't think that part of it is great, but there's not much you can do about it. So that's why I said everybody's just kind of feeling their way. But on the field, yeah, I think everything is as normal as it possibly could be, mainly because if you're going to have a football practice, you kind of have to have a football practice. There's not much else you can do except go out and try to play football, and that's what guys are doing.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway is that once you're back there, everything has to be normal in order to kind of move forward. It looks like it's a good day overall. Now, following you and others here locally in Philly and also plenty of people around the National Football League, but it seems like that is the general feel. And so long as players are going home and they're not doing a lot of stuff like in Major League Baseball, we saw a couple of times, the idea is that this could work, that this actually could work, right? Because as you mentioned, everybody in Philadelphia has tested negative. We see a bunch of players around the NFL who've come back and tested negative. So we can definitely talk about hypotheticals 2, maybe 3, 4 weeks down the line, a month or 6 weeks down the line. But as of today, right now, the NFL is working.
Yeah, well, I would say, and I think I mentioned this last week on the show, I think training camp helps with that because the days are so long. From a player standpoint, you're talking about 12-hour days, and even with young people, they're tired, and they want to go home, and they know they got to do it tomorrow again and have a tough practice in the heat. And I think things become trickier as you get in the regular season and you scale back to that prep mode and the days are more manageable and you have more free time. I think that's where you might get some of that baseball stuff and guys making bad decisions.
Awesome, John. Appreciate it, man. We'll chat a little bit later in the week. Some more stuff I'm sure will pop out from camp all around. Thanks again, man, for the time. I know it's crazy today.
Yeah, sorry about it, Eitan.
You're great.
Appreciate it.
No worries at all. And we even got fake news in. That's a pretty big accomplishment right there.
All right. Thanks, bud.
You got it. It's John McMullen at JF McMullen. We'll wrap the hour next on The Second Level.